The following video you're about to watch will have spoilers of the Source Project. If you do not want any Source spoilers, please stop the video, watch the Source Project, and then go back and watch this video for my opinion on it. You've been warned. So around this time, I was actually at my Mimi's house. She was just got done moving like a couple months ago into this new house, and she went and out of town for something. I forgot what. And my boy was out there house sitting. One night, me and my friend Daniel decided to go crash over at, I guess, in his place. If you know what I mean. It's basically house sitting. But she didn't mind if we were over there helping out with all a bunch of stuff. And one night we were planning on watching Gravity Falls because it said it was going to be on. But it turns out that what out after that was Ducktales, the 2017 reboot, and we were blown away by it. I loved the reboot, and I wanted to get into this so badly, but I just couldn't get into it. It was so, because it was blocked by basically everything. No streaming service really had it. The only thing that was close to it was the Disney Now app, which, if you guys have used Disney Now, you guys probably know that you have to have cable for that. We don't pay for cable. We use services like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and so it was basically killing me inside to watch these episodes. Now I know that, of course, the first episode is on YouTube. Thanks a lot, YouTube. I subscribe to the Disney app for nothing, or this Disney channel, That sounds very redundant, but the Disney Channel on YouTube, and it doesn't, they didn't notify me of a new episode. So, yeah, thanks a lot, YouTube. But, yeah, around this time, I've just been wanting to see what was going to happen. I wanted to see how this was going to go, because that first episode was called Jaws, and I had so many questions. I had so many, wildly thoughts of what it was going to be about. Like, who is this girl, edgy character, and I wanted to know the why behind the what. And I felt like it was, again, it kind of like how Gravity Falls kind of, absorbed me into, the Disney XD side of everything. This really, times 10. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, the Gaming Trouges here, and welcome to another podcast. In today's podcast, we will be talking about the Ducktales 2017 reboot. Like I said before, spoilers ahead. Don't clear out if you need to, but, yeah, I'm actually going to be tackling 2 seasons this time, because Disney Plus added in 2 whole seasons of DuckTales 2017, and I am going to be tackling all of it. I won't be going through each individual episode. I'll be talking about every episode I feel like needs to be talked about in order to get the plot across. Similar to a lot of Disney XD shows, it does have a lot of filler, where basically the plot doesn't really go anywhere, and more centered around character moments, and which I do feel like it's fine, but I don't really feel like it's worth talking about for this type of podcast. I like to get the story out as much as I can. That's how I like to do these types of podcasts. And so if you guys if I skim over one of your favorite episodes, I apologize dearly. But at the same time, I don't want this podcast going over an hour and 20 minutes or so. I want this podcast to be short, to the point where you guys can listen to it if you guys really do feel like just relaxing for 20 or so minutes while I nerd out over a Disney XD show. But I really do hope you guys enjoy this, and let's get started. So DuckTales begins with a houseboat. Yeah, this houseboat belongs to Donald, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Huey, Dewey, and Louie live with Donald Duck for reasons at this point unknown. Donald is trying to struggle to get a job, and his babysitter that he called ends up at the wrong location due to Louie and Huey's type of master plan. And so, relentless Dwayne, the kids basically stay by themselves for a couple of hours. As he leaves them, as he was about to leave, the boat starts driving off, and Donald immediately gets suspicious. enter Dewey, which is actually one of my favorite characters. If we can pause this right now and kind of drop in the guns a little bit, but he has the most character development in this show by far. He's almost more of a main character than the rest of the trio is, and he is definitely one of my favorite ducks in the entire group of ducks in this series. But I'll get on more about him and why he's more of a point later. But anyway, Dewey tries to make a break for it, heading to a place called Crepe Suzette, if I remember correctly. I think I'm probably saying the name wrong. But Crepe Suzette, and the way that he was about to go didn't exactly turn out very much to his plan, because he gets caught by Donald, which immediately makes him, without no choice, dropping him off at Scrooge McDuck's mansion. Scrooge McDuck at this point is basically getting run down because of his expenses and stuff like that. And with him being the, quote, richest duck in the world, he has a bunch of money to technically burn, but at the same time, he has to kind of pay off a bunch of his gold to kind of, keep stuff funding for his, research and a bunch of other stuff like that. So at this point, he's kind of, depressed. He doesn't really have any need to go on any adventures. But to the trio, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, they didn't actually, feel that. He still thinks that he's the best duck in the world, although at this point he doesn't really feel like that. But anyway, Donald Duck meets up with Scrooge McDuck, and they talk for a little bit. You could tell right from the get-go that they have history together, and this is very important information, I should stress. Donald and Scrooge really did have a history together, which does come together mainly by the end of season 1, right as season 2 kind of kicks in and stuff like that. It really is you go, what? You go, what the heck? Is this even the same show anymore? What is this? But I digress. So continuing on, so Scrooge McDuck decides, you know what, why not, we'll take in the kids or whatever. But he ends up basically locking them inside of a room, unfortunate event style, basically leaving them to their own devices. And they went into the maid's granddaughter, which the maid was actually an undercover secret agent, mind you. You could probably tell in her voice she sounds like a secret agent, but in actuality, I had no idea this was even a thing until later episodes started elaborating on that. But yeah. Anyway, enter Webby. And let me just say, Webby is also, again, one of my favorite characters, and she has, again, just more character development than, majority of the other characters. She is the type of person that's been studying Scrooge and his entire family forever. And apparently, according to the original series, she was more of, a little sister to them that didn't really do much. But this one, she acts like a Mabel Star crossover, if I can even call it that, because, she has the quirkiness of Mabel, but at the same time, she's headstrong and as kind of focused as Star from Star Vs. And I like that in a character. Well, she doesn't have to be the little kid that was basically the most annoying. Yeah, I apologize to people that really like the original Ducktales, but I cannot stand Webby in the original Ducktales. It's charming up to a point. If it was just one episode with her in it, it's fine, but she was basically a part of the main crew, and it just really did not sell well with me when I watched an episode of the original Ducktales on Disney Plus. And maybe I'll go touch short if I just kept watching it, but I don't know. I will just stick to this one because it is. I feel like I could connect more with the characters a lot more in this way than probably back then. By the way, I'm not smack talking the original series. I could tell that there was giant fans of it, and it is still I feel like it aged beautifully, especially for an 80s and 90s cartoon. But yeah, I'm getting kind of off subject. So with her basically studying Scrooge and all that, she was very excited to find out that the nephews will be staying with them for a few hours, or so we thought. Scrooge McDuck has been wanting to go to the lost city of Atlantis, but unfortunately, due to like the budget costs and all that other stuff, and him just not really feeling like going out because of past events, I'm going to just call it that, and he just didn't have the like eventuate spirit anymore until he finally decides, because of Louis' remarks, him saying, "You the you used to be cool." Like, I'm paraphrasing. "You used to be cool. What happened to you?" And with that, he basically wants to push out any sort of family out of his life, which with that, that's one of the quotes that Dewey hears as they're crying in through a vault heading into the garage. Well, at this point, they think it's actually like a secret layer of a bunch of mysterious artifacts and stuff like that. But yeah, it's literally a garage. Which I love, by the way. I love that they turned like this room into a garage, and it comes back in season 2 also. One of the characters goes in there, and Scrooge literally is all like, "I need this to stop locking this door so that no one can come in." I think that's a good like kind of a funny like point, but anyway. Inside this room, they kind of accidentally unleashed a spirit dragon, which technically Scrooge unleashed it. There was a couple of ghosts. There was this giant headless horse that actually has a personality that has Scrooge's head on it, which I find is hilarious just all in itself. Just Scrooge, just Scrooge's head on top of this so-called headless horse, and like at times like he will clap like his horse or whatever, and it will have like text at the bottom saying what he's talking about, which I think is funny. But basically, the end of the first episode ends with this giant dragon coming out of this like this dong that he Scrooge hits to try to make a point, and but during the fight to try to stop the artifacts, he basically just got wet. Basically, yeah, the thing got hit multiple times, and then Scrooge, as he was trying to make a point, whacks the thing, and it shakes, and then all of a sudden, this giant dragon appears and started heading for the money bin. Fortunately, they managed to stop it with the help of Huey, Dewey, Louie, Webby, as well as Launchpad. I didn't really know how to work Launchpad into the plot. You see him at the beginning part driving Scrooge back to his mansion. But, yeah, he does, of course, become kind of the main, like, pilot slash whatever. Basically, if there is a motor and it has to get to a certain destination, a navigator, that's the word I'm looking for. I feel like you can get away by calling Launchpad navigator. And he's really one of the best. Well, I said that way like for a bunch of other characters, but like again, he's really like funny. He's very witty. I don't actually see like a moment with him as like a hindrance. Like I actually see every moment with him like be quite funny. Later throughout the show, you see that he's a giant fan of Darkwing Duck, which is actually a TV show in that area. And this whole thing, like I'm like bouncing between episodes here, trying to describe characters, but that's is kind of how I kind of describe my experience with it, because I didn't exactly start off with episode 1 watching through this, but episode 2 basically is like the second part of the first part. Donald ends up getting a job as a sailor for a sketchy-looking Scotsman named Grimwald, and I feel like I'm mispronouncing that, although I'm not trying to. But he is the main head of Grimwald Enterprises, and he is a competitor to Scrooge McDuck, and he's heading for the lost city of Atlantis. At the end of the first episode, obviously Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Webby all become friends with Scrooge McDuck to head straight for the lost city of Atlantis. And so, yeah, you can tell where this is heading pretty quickly. The two end up clashing heads with Donald basically being like, "Why are you taking my kids out on a journey when it's like obviously too dangerous for them?" But you know what? They end up getting out safely. The houseboat explodes because Dewey left the mortal warning. And so they just move in with Uncle Scrooge, all of them. Which, again, I feel like it's way better than the original series, where basically Donald just heads off, basically not to be seen. Um, yeah, so that's kind of how I play it. Like, I like it a lot better this way. And the rest of the season is, of course, basically them going on amazing adventures. But one plot point that's kind of important that does drag on a couple episodes is at the end of this episode. As Dewey is putting stuff away, he sits down his stuff and realizes that he sees a painting of Donald and Scrooge fighting against pirates. And as like there was a little piece of paper that was hanging down. As Dewey pulls up the paper, he realizes that that paper was actually his mother, Della Duck. And it basically his entire story arc is him and Webby basically trying to find out clues to what happened to her mom. And the first time I saw that, I was like, what? What? A mother? Because you guys gotta understand, like, Disney characters, Mickey Mouse, Donald, Goofy, all them, like, you don't see, like, mothers and stuff like that. Like, you don't know who the mother is to someone, say, like, Max from the Goofy movies, or whatever. Like, you don't understand, like, you don't get who these people are, like, who did they marry and stuff like that. It's all very background, and you have to, like, get some, like, you have to, like, go deep dive into the pool of darkness in order to get in this. And when they actually canonize the mother, I was totally down for that. Like, at this point, I don't care what they, like, I want them for this next season. I don't know if they're doing it yet, because I've seen squat of season 3. I want them to try to find a father, or at the very least, try to find someone that's like a father figure to him that's not Donald or whatever. Like, I'll be completely down with that. But the rest of the fourth season is basically Dewey and Webby basically trying to find out who who Della Duck was. We find out very early on that Della stole the spear of Selene, which we don't even know what the spear of Selene was. That it was, I'm assuming, a spear at the point. But of course they they meet up with Greek heroes. Like, one episode they up and meet up with Greek heroes, and they were like best friends with Donald and Della. And so this was a perfect opportunity for Dewey and Webby to find out more about her. But unfortunately, one of the guys, I forgot her name off the top of my head, one of the goddess ladies, she gives Dewey this like little ball thing that she can like kind of see moments of Della and her in like the flesh, I guess, in the flesh-ish. Different moments in the past, basically. Kind of like mini foes. And that's the only thing that we kind of get for a little bit. Like, we get zero of anything through it. Like, it's kind of just like that, like the Disney Channel / Disney XD type vibe, where they, like, have a bunch of episodes that really don't make sense in the grand scheme of things. And it's not like in Gravity Falls, where they have, like, an ever-connecting plot. I mean, there are characters that do come back in seasons that you do see in this season. For example, there's these sky pirates that do, like, this song and dance that Dewey up and throws. Like, basically takes over and becomes captain. And later, he gets so upset that he did that. To the point of, like, him trying to fight, like, later down the road, he comes back and is super mad about that. He's all like, I want to fight Dewey. He took away my ship and all that. I'm like, dude, talk about holding on to a grudge. I mean, but I digress. But anyway, so ending the fourth season, because there was really nothing really else to really cover for the fourth season that I really haven't covered. So covering up the fourth season is basically At one point, randomly, I say randomly, Scrooge goes to his mom and dad's house, which they actually, which the story behind that kind of subplot is the fact that, he put like, he was actually trying to find, like, this type of secret, like, hidden gem or whatever that's inside the house. Spoiler alert, which I kind of already said spoilers at the beginning, but kind of like skipping forward a little bit. We never find out what that gem was. It was basically inside the house is always mysteries and all this other stuff that we still don't know squat about, which is again pretty weird that we don't know squat about it. I probably in season 3 they will make something out of it, but at this point, we don't know squat about what was in there. But, kind of the main point of it, the brothers find out what, Dewey and Webby have been up to, and they want in. The main reason why, Dewey kept it a secret was because when they found out that she stole the spear of Selene, she didn't know, no one knew what that was. That could have meant good, bad, ugly, it could have meant anything, and he wanted to make sure that it was still good, so that whenever they know that she wasn't like a thief or whatever, which at this point that kind of hits you in the heart just a little bit. I mean, like, it doesn't hit you in the heart all the way yet. That's for the next episode, but still at this point, like, you can tell that like tension is going down. Like, something is about to happen that's really going down. And I just remember this, like, off the top of my head. And I know a lot of people are probably going to get upset at me about this, but I forgot to mention another kind of important character. And I say she's kind of important because she is actually Magica De Spell's granddaughter. Yeah, Lena. Magica De Spell's granddaughter, Lena. Let me just talk about her real quick, because she is kind of the one that kind of introduced me to this series, if you will. The first episode where she spends the night. Magica De Spell, if you guys remember from the original one, because she's in the original one, she's like Edgelord 2000 in this. Like, she up and is like the epitome of evil in this series. I honestly think that if this TV show ends up being so popular that Square wants it in Kingdom Hearts, one, that would be awesome. Two, I would definitely won't mind if they use the Magica De Spell plot for it. Like, I honestly don't care. It works so well. It looks so hard. And it's just, ugh. But anyway, Magica De Spell's granddaughter is actually a girl named Lena. And she is your kind of edgy, angsty type of teenager type person. Which I say edgy teenager, I still feel like she's at least a year or two older than Webby. But you can tell that she has some dark hidden secrets inside of her. And after the sleepover that she had with Webby, she knows that there's a lot more to just like filling out her like her grandmother's wishes. That's the one I'm looking for. Grandmother's wishes. And she wants us to become free again. But Magica can basically make that happen if she can get Scrooge's #1 dime. And that is kind of the her type of story. She's a girl basically forced to be evil and to do evil things. And her grandma can basically yell at her and do, like, basically harm her in some way by using the magic and all that other crazy junk. Like, you know how this kind of goes down by this point. And I still think that Lena by herself is a decent character. She's a decent heroine, and she just wants to live a normal life. She kind of reminds me of a Roxas, kind of. I mean, technically, Organization 13 is set to be evil, but Roxas wanted his own life. He wanted to live with his friends and wanted to just live normal life. And that's why I feel like Lena could kind of connect with me a little bit. She is a dark version of Roxas from Kingdom Hearts. And again, I really do like Roxas from Kingdom Hearts. And I think this really works with, not only the type of plot that they were going for with Magica, but it just, again, it just works out. Like, sound like a broken record, but it just works out beautifully as a plot device. But going back to the last 3 episodes, and this is where stuff starts coming at the heart, like spheres coming through the heart. And I say the last 3 episodes, I meant last 2 episodes because it is kind of a double part of the last one, so I kind of consider them one episode. But basically, on one adventure that they're going on, not only does Huey, Dewey, Louie, Webby all know about, like, all trying to figure out what the Spear of Selene is, because they do end up finding what the Spear of Selene is. It looks to be a rocket ship of some sort, and we don't exactly know what it is. And not only that, but also the birth dates, which I think they said was the year 2000. So in 2017, they should be around 18 or so. At least I'm assuming around 2017. They might be 17 or so. Again, I'm not 100% sure on their age at all, because again, this show does not want to tell us how old they are. I mean, probably a quick Google search may help me out, but it also says that Peppa Pig is also 7 feet tall. I mean, I don't believe all the time how old, like, basically those, like, Google searches that pop up the ages. I mean, unless if it's an official website, I'm not really buying it. But anyway, back to the point at hand. So not only are they just, are the main 4 trying to, like, solve this mystery about the mom, but also, Agent 22, also known as Mrs. Beakley, the housekeeper, the maid, is going to come with her because she has a bunch of vacation days still saved up, and she thought, why not? This will be perfect. Coming right to the chase, is not perfect. She's freaking out basically over everything because he's saying that everyone's not necessarily safe, but that's kind of the occupational hazard that comes with adventuring. Like, you go out into the world and not everything's going to be safe, especially if Launchpad is the, like, main pilot or so 9% of the time, because he has a tendency to crash. But again, that's kind of his own stick that he has, and again, he means well, he has a great heart, but at the same time, like, he mainly crashes, and that would eventually, like it wasn't him that basically made her, like, freak out. That goes straight to Scrooge McDuck, but a bit more on that in a second. So, as like a little piece of paper basically flies out of the room, it's up to Dewey to basically go and grab it. But at the point that he grabs the paper, Scrooge sees him, and because they're keeping this away from Scrooge, considering that he doesn't exactly know what anything is, they're trying to keep this all a secret. Basically, the key word here is secrets. All of this is because of secrets. We don't exactly know why Scrooge and Donald didn't talk forever. We didn't know what the Spear of Selene is. We don't know anything at this point, other than Scrooge didn't talk to Donald for 10 or so years. And then it cuts to, and then it basically drags on to this kind of chase scene. I say kind of chase scene because they literally had to walk at one point. But it ends up leading Dewey onto the top of the plane, also known as the Sun Chaser. And as he was trying to get it, dude, my heart was pounding. If you guys have seen any of the music video edits, you guys know how much I took that, like, part seriously. That was an important part of this entire, like, season to begin with. The clues, the answers. Again, I'm going to bring this up again, but since Gravity Falls, guys, they done something similar to this around the end of, like, the middle of season 2, I like to say, if I'm remembering this correctly, when they brought out the fact that Stan's not who he says he was. Like, my heart rate was literally pouncing so hard because I wanted to see if Dewey can get the paper, solve the mystery, and see what this is. Like, I didn't really care that much that Scrooge was trying to stop him. Like, I did want him to not stop him. But at the same time, I didn't exactly know what was going to happen. And again, it's like those moments where your heart starts being crazy, and you're like, just get the thing, get the thing. You start screaming at the TV, trying to see if they can hear you, but in actuality, your siblings are all looking at you more, and they see that you're more interested in it than they will ever want. But yeah, then Dewey finally gets the piece of paper. Scrooge finally tells her what the spear of Selene really was. And oh boy, it's a giant doozy. So the Spear of Selene and this whole entire thing was because Della, Donald, and Scrooge were been eventually for quite a while. They kind of basically got everywhere on the map that they wanted to, but the one place that Della wanted to go was the stars. And throughout this entire point, they've been trying to build this giant rocket to go up there, eventually building this Spear of Selene, which is a type of rocket that can get up to the moon. And as they were flying off into space, well, as they were about to get ready to fly up into space, because there was only one spear built, Della decided to go take it. He said, "Sorry, I mistook the spear of Selene," well down note, and she blasted it off. Fortunately, something happened into the spaceship type thing, and it crash lands onto the moon. And so far, and leaving Scrooge basically thinking that she died. She's up and dead. And at that moment, you don't even know what to do. But the boys take it its own way. Webby gets herself wrapped into this argument. Scrooge up and yells she's not family. And then again, that hurt my heart a little bit, considering that she lived with her for X amount of years. And yeah, so basically, drama happens, and the ship ends up crashing into a wall, and the three amigos, Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Donald, end up moving back into the lake, basically super sad, and leaving Scrooge McDuck in his own pity, losing his family again. Guys, that episode still hits me super hard. You can say whatever you want about any type of big old anime, but dude, you go to that point. You go to the point of family, the heart in general, and it just hits you there like a freaking bowling ball hitting a bunch of pins. It is just, it's too hard. It hits you so hard, and it's just, it just hits you hard again. But Huey, Dewey, and Louie decide it's about time to make up, and that's what at the end of the first episode, because I meant the first episode, the first to last episode, the first double part. That's what I'm trying to get at. So the first, the main, double parter is the fact that Magica ends up taking control of Lena, sneaking into the mansion, and talking Scrooge into basically giving up everything, his entire clothes, everything, and even his number one dime. Which, if you guys have not been paying attention throughout the, course of this entire series, and it's actually a point that I didn't bring up because I just honestly slipped my mind, which I apologize dearly for. I know I'm getting back into this. It's kind of I'm just kind of going everywhere with this whole thing. But the number one dime, why this is so important, was the fact that Scrooge literally worked for that dime. He was shoe shining someone's shoe and ended up working his tail feathers off, and he managed to get 1 10-cent dime. And that's what basically pushed him from going to America and the fictional world of Duckburg. And that's really what I like about that whole plot. It's a nice soothing moment. But at this point, it kind of acts like a magical device. It's basically Yami Yugi's Millennium Puzzle type thing. But because this is how it works. Magica ends up getting out of the darkness realm, ends up taking control of Lena, and traps Scrooge inside of the dime. leaving Scrooge trapped while Magica takes control of everyone's shadows and to ends up attacking anyone. So yeah, that's kind of where the first double part ends, and everyone was wanting to go and apologize to Scrooge, but it turns out that yeah, basically Armageddon's happening. So Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Webby decide to go off and try to help fight this. Like Doc tried to get back to Scrooge and all that, trying to like solve the mystery again. But of course, Donald does not want any of that to happen. He funny story, funny like side little thing. One of Scrooge's like I say side characters. He's basically the inventor. He's kind of he invents inventions for I forgot what the company is called. Dang it. Scrooge Enterprises or whatever. I think it's Scrooge. I think it's McDuck Enterprises if I remember correctly. I will just pop it right here to see if it can. If I can't say it right now because I cannot think at the moment because I was trying to have a point. But anyway, one of the main scientists actually goes and gives Donald this like thing that puts inside of his mouth that makes him sound like a normal human being. I say normal human being, a normal character, I should say, because there's no human beings in this world. Are you crazy? But anyway, he swallows this thing, he talks normally, and he wants, basically, the kids to stay safe while they go and fight. Well, obviously, they're not going to do that, because you can't have a pretty good anime climax without it, right? So the kids end up going to the money bin where Magica is, and ends up with the best fight ever in Ducktales. Literally, this is fight. It has heart. It has like a couple of funny moments because it is, of course, Ducktales, and you know Dewey and not Dewey, Louie and Huey really do like kind of like act a lot cocky or find this bad guy, especially Louie. I mean, she was like she ends up Magica ends up breaking a like mirror, and Louis up and says that it has like some sort of random course on top of it, and one of the courses gives her a straight kick in the ribs and a swift kick in the ribs, and I thought that line was so funny. And then Webby comes out and just kicks her in the ribs. I'm like, perfect, that's awesome. I'm like, let's go, let's see this fight going. And this fight has a lot of like passion to it, because not only is she fighting, because she find out that because similar to like basically every other character in this series so far, Luna also has secrets that she didn't tell Webby, and she didn't tell her that she was the granddaughter of Lena or whatever. Like Lena didn't tell her that she was the granddaughter of Magica. And so with this, Magica and her fighting, I'm like, okay, stuff is about to go down. And there's multiple points where she's just up in tears trying to fight. It's like watching Deku try to fight a giant magical evil duck. I mean, My Hero Academia Season 4 final boss. I mean, am I right? But anyway, enough about me basically making you guys cringe, but let's get back to the story. So at one point during the Jaws episode, they got magical bracelets, basically a friendship bracelet. At this point, she uses the friendship bracelet as a magical shield, and Lena appears from the afterlife, and she ends up fighting against Magica, but only for her to kind of die. Yeah, she ends up dying, guys. Like, you go, like, hardcore with this. A kid that's around 13, I'm assuming, maybe 14, ends up dying. And at this point, Webby just goes way at it. Just keeps attacking her non-stop. Just keeps on fighting her to try to get back, her friend. But at this point, Dewey grabs the number one dime aim, and as Magica basically shrugs off Webby, she shoots a lightning bolt at Dewey. And again, similar to the magical bracelet thing, she uses the dime as a kind of a makeshift shield and flees Scrooge McDuck, with Scrooge giving her the what for, the 1-2 hit combo, and ends up saving the day. And that, my friends, ends season 1 of Ducktales. This season alone was great. It had a lot of funny moments, even moments I didn't even bring up, like the introduction to Gizmo Duck. Like, there's a bunch of moments in this season that will make you laugh, would definitely make you, like, hit the feels hardcore, and just a bunch of, like, good times. This is what I wanted to see in the 1980s DuckTales, like going back and watching the 80s one. Like, again, I'm not smack talking the 80s one because, like, I know it has fans and I know it has, like, that sort of fan base to it. But as someone that's newer to it, like, as someone that I feel like it should be casual, like, take off, like, my glasses and put on the casual glasses, I feel like that you won't be like, you won't like say, like, I feel like you should be happy watching this. I know I'm stuttering a lot and I apologize dearly, I know, but this, like, my podcasts are not normally like scripted out, like I have bullet points, but that's literally about it, because I want to talk from the heart, and that's what I want to do. Like, that's how I do these types of things. But yeah, so season 1 basically closes off with the moon, and it turns out that Della is still alive. She's actually ends up alive at the end, somewhere trapped on the moon. And this is kind of a side. This is kind of like the main, like, hook for season 2. Like, again, like, kind of starting off with season 2, it's more of a bunch of filler, like I said before. And this was kind of the reason why I called it a bunch of filler, because it wasn't, like, really, like, moments that kind of, like, connected the first couple episodes. It was more like just a bunch of, like, character development episodes. Which, if you're into that sort of thing, great. But at the same time, for me, recording, like, a podcast or whatever, where I mainly tackle stories, this story kind of continues on for a bit. We get some of, like, there was one night where they were playing, like, this random D&D game, and they all get shrink down to little bitty bits and stuff like that. But I'm actually going to be talking about Della Duck for a little bit and trying to get through her story.